All right, let's see here. Good evening and hello. So right now, here's where I'm at with this space thing. The orthographic drawings have been completed, got those done, and I'm getting a lot out of these orthographic drawings. So with each one of these, what I want to be able to do is bring these paintings into the final compositions that I'm going to be working on. So they're good explorations. They gave me the chance to be able to develop these two things in tandem, and yeah, they're working all right. So they're here is where I'm at with the first composition. And again, keep in mind this composition is really more of a hero shot for the space station and the space elevator. This is not really that great of a shot for an animated TV show or movie because it doesn't allow us to give any indication to the characters, and it doesn't further the story in any way. It's just sort of an establishing shot, but it's not really for use in animation. So this one is working much better for an animated shot, and because it gives us a character stage for them to be able to move and walk around on and interact, and to still be able to tell the same story that the other shot does, that they're on a space elevator, that they're moving up, and that there's other space elevators within this area. That makes me think. I wonder if I could put some satellites or something else off in the background, but it's probably just going to dirty up the composition. So anywho, what I'm doing right now is I'm going through and painting the space with any of these shots, any type of digital painting that I'm going to be working on. Normally, what I like to do is start in the very, very background and then work my way towards the foreground because I'm going to learn a lot about my painting, the color usage, and just sort of gives me a chance to be able to get comfortable before I get warmed up and get into the more complex elements within this scene. So to be able to set up this space shot, this is one of the things I really like about this course, that we get to really sort of do an artist study or a creative study, a creative breakdown on how these things are working. If you have never painted space before, this is not your forte. This space painting here is pretty nice. So the reason why this one is nice and is working is because when we look at our color space, this blackest blue that we're using here is still pretty blue. It's still got a lot of saturation in it inside of the color picker, right? That's still got some color. When we go over here, we get darker. It does become more dark on the backside of the planet, but as we start to move up, we're getting much more bright. And there's some light that's coming in from off the screen up in this space area so that it becomes kind of a light gray in this area. We've got a little bit of blue here, and it's creating a very, very subtle gradient as it moves down. And so I'm using those same tricks within this painting to be able to drop in to get the sky having a little bit more interest instead of just being black. The next thing that I'm doing here is I highly recommend that you guys do not go through and try and paint stars on your own. Download yourself something that looks like this, a purely black and white image of space. You can go to image under the selection drop down, go to selection, and then select color range, and you can take out that black from it. You can also set this layer to screen, which you can still see it's a little bit gray there, but that'll get you most of the way to be able to drop in the stars. The reason why we want to do this is if you do not, the stars are going to end up looking like little sprinkles if you try to paint them in yourself. They're not going to look all that great. So what I'm going to do now is I just want to drop down some of these stars. After giving myself a second and then coming back to this thing, I realized that these stars are a little bit overbearing compared to the shot that we're seeing. And likely there's going to be, that's where the brightness is at. We're going to see less stars over there. They're still in my shot, but they're not quite as strong. I think that is a lot less powerful. We'll go to the other shot here in just a second. Drop out some of these too. Just erasing some of them off with the fuzzy brush set to 43%. And here's what the other shot looks like. So within this other shot, you can see how much noise there is coming from these stars. They are absolutely everywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops, star layer. There it is. All right. And let's just drop some of those down right around the edge of the planet. Don't really need to see those. Where the light's coming from, they're going to get blotted out. They're not going to be as bright right around the light up here. Drop some of these back just so that they're not quite as bright as they were. And this will give us just a little less noise and a little bit more visual breathing room. So there. So that looks quite a bit better. For the stars within the shot, we still get the idea that it's outer space, but now they are not completely overbearing like those other stars were, and it feels quite a bit better. All right, so the next thing here, with my planet, I'm looking at both of my reference photos. So within my reference photos for the planets, we can see, before I start painting those, that there is a gradient moving through the planet. That means it's really bright blue here, and then it's getting to a darker blue in the back and getting even blacker towards the edge. And that's exactly what I've got going on within my first shots. All right, so I created my sphere, gave it a gradient over the top of it. For a blue planet, no problem. And same thing is happening with this within this one, a nice clean gradient with the blue moving across there. Now, the next thing that I noticed from really studying both of these reference images and breaking down the visuals for it is that there is an atmosphere coming off of this planet. We've got a thin layer of sort of a fuzzy, airbrushy blue, and then this one has a really much brighter area of the fuzzy, airbrushy blue that goes basically to white up by the side, but I don't want to go that bright with this. I think that that's a little bit too much contrast there, and it's going to pull away from the things that I have going on within the foreground of my scene. However, I can definitely pull in that color white, no problem, since I'm already using that in my shot. So I've got my blue fuzzy layer that I've created, and that's excuse me, overlaying my planet. Bless me. And so what I want to do next is I'm going to grab, got one layer here that's just sort of going to pull this stuff that I want to paint on top of my blue layer. What I want to do is with the fuzzy brush, there we go, and just give it a little bit more of a color right around the edge and try to, why there's that line that keeps on moving through it. Oh, I know. That's my sketch. Haha, I understand. Sure. My sketch, we don't need you anymore. There we go. That looks pretty cool. And next thing that I want to do here is I've got my blue lines. I'm going to use my smudge tool right around the edge just to be able to soften all of this stuff, which isn't really giving me the result that I wanted. Try that again. So with the blur tool, and what I want to do is just soften up that edge. I really like the color that it's giving me there. That looks good to me. I like the sharp blue that's happening. So for this one, I'm going to have trouble matching the. I'm not going to be able to pull a line perfectly here. All right. Use my pen tool for this one, and I'm going to go through and stroke the path. There you go. Delete. Might be a little bit thick, but let's give it another try. See what we get. There's that blue line from my sketch showing up again. I'm going to delete that out. And that's feeling pretty good. So now we got a nice atmosphere that we've been able to create within this shot. It's matching on each one of them. Feels strong to me. And now we get to go in and we get to start looking at how these artists have built in the ground or the topology on the planet. And this is likely where we're going to be using some textured brushes. So within this one, it looks like the artist just downloaded a satellite view of like cities at night overhead and laid it in there. And the lights don't really work. I think that there's better examples of this on the internet. And then within this one, they've got some kind of rock or granite texture that they've laid in here. So I want to see if we can't paint something like that's sort of a medium between the two, because I do like the cloud coverage that they were able to create here, even though this is definitely, again, a downloaded image of a cloud. And let's see if we can't start painting in some rock textures on this ground. I've got it created, and I'm going to go into my textured brush. On texture, nope, we want a rough one. Dimpler, love that word. Water texture, nope. How about chalk? Yeah, that looks like a winner to me. We're at 100% on the brush for right now. Let's leave that there and see what we get, what happens. So with this, the planetary marks that are going on, island forms going out here. And again, think about, topology and how this stuff is built out. But we can use these lines on the planet to help direct us. Give a big lake here. Direct the viewer's eye. So right now, the spacecraft is getting a little bit lost on the ground. And I just want to keep this nice and sketchy for the most part, leave some of my lines a little bit rough. Got a massive island scape going on. Maybe there's some barrier islands that exist right around here. That's kind of nice. Oops. And this is just my base color. I'm going to paint it in very loosely at first. So I want to get some different hues and colors that are showing up and just exploring this. All right, feels good to me. Go in, let's repeat this for the other shape. Layer on top. Remember, we're going to do clouds within the scene as well. There we go. Something make the what you call it, the space tether stand out a little bit more. Just being real rough and loose and big. These first drawings. The last thing I want to do is get in and get super detailed. As you see me working throughout this semester and throughout these other example projects, I always like to start really big and really loose and then work my way into the details. So there's my archipelago, what a fun word to say. There it is. All right. So I'm going to drop this right here. There we go. So now it's actually matching with the atmosphere that we laid in there previously and with the lighting a little bit. And down here in the corner, just give it an arrow, sort of a wave sign. I know everyone's tired. We've been working hard over the projects. Right at the end, continue please to try and finish strong stuff. And this is fun, right? So we're going to put everything that we've learned together. We're starting really loose. So there's my base color. Let's give it another little hint here. Some other little shapes. I like it. Looks good to me. Let's go back to my reference images and see what other colors these guys have worked with. So that was sort of the middle color. We've got a brighter color here that they're working with. I'm going to work on the same layer. So I'm going to kind of commit myself to getting some different terrain going on. Maybe I turn it down a little bit from 100%. There. Post. A little bit too low for me. 62% I think will work better. There we go. Using my brackets, be able to change quickly the size and shape of my brush. Give it a sandbar here. Thinking about like the coast of Florida, beaches, a bunch of sandy mountain ranges all around there. Around the water. Feeling pretty good. Cool. Like it. Up it down again. Probably going to need to make this a little bit darker. Keeping an eye on my what you call it, my thumbnail view, my navigator, the lower left-hand side to see how this looks overall. Let's zoom back. And yeah, from a thumbnail view, this is looking pretty good. We're starting to get something interesting in there for painting planet. I think we're ready for my third color now. So maybe it's time to switch up the brush also. So we've got a whole bunch of dimpling that's going on here. We've got this darker brush. I think this one's pretty interesting. Give it just, I should have a little bit more saturation with that. And let's get another brush next. So we're just getting some other texture called Rock Big. Let's see if that does. Right, 48%. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm just going over the previous paint job that I've done on this. Be able to give it a little bit more noise and make it feel massive. Higher. Don't get me. Really large. So we're starting to get that rocky terrain texture that we are going for. Still doing this all on the same layers. I'm building my pieces up. I'm not really too concerned right now because I know that this stuff in the background is going to end up becoming quite a bit darker. But if I get to the end, just use the smudge brush just a little bit now. That's cool. And what I'm doing is just softening up some of these areas. Not trying to overdo it with the smudge tool at all. Just a little bit here and there. There we go. It's feeling all right. Cool. And just that quick, a pretty good ground layer. Go back into my other composition. Where'd it go? Ah, this one. I'm missing 2 layers of detail here. That's unfortunate. Okay. So we got, I really like my rock layer that I applied. So let's, let's go back to the talk. Do it right. Same process. 57, let's bring it down to 52. There we go. Sandy area right around here. Let's see. Biggest desert in the world, northwestern China. Absolutely massive, larger than the Sahara. Here, look at a map, Google Earth or anything like that. Got an entire country. Northwestern side, empty. No one lives there. Very, very barren. Same thing with Australia, right? Everyone in that entire continent is grouped around the edge of the country. And no one lives on the interior because the interior is a giant desert well with all the things that will kill you. Like, there you go. Pretty good. Using, I think my hand cramp up here because I'm changing my brush size so much while I'm doing this. There you go. That feels good. Get in and grab rock color. Feeling good, we're feeling all right. Now our rock's at 62. Let's go for the fire. Remember, this whole section here is going to get it's going to get darkened a little bit. Well, one color I do want to try and create some streaks through here, just so that we're giving the impression that there's some mountain ranges that are getting a little bit of shadow and there's some height in this. All right, good. It's just about there. Sky. All right, feels good to me. Let's go with that smudge tool again and see what we can do. So blur out stuff. It's not quite sharp. All right, feels pretty good to me. Let's soften up some of these edges back here. I like it. Feeling pretty good. Remember, we said we're going to darken all this stuff up. Let's grab the darkest side of the planet is airbrush tool. I know I usually don't use the airbrush tool too often. I try to avoid it. There we go. That feels more like it's working with the atmosphere now. Same thing with this guy, new layer. Go. So let's zoom out, and we have just created something really, really quickly that looks like a believable planet or planet terrain. Again, the idea to be able to get this to work is going in there, finding my middle tone from my reference image, and then painting in the beaches next around the coast, and thinking about the way that that sandy area creeps back, and remembering that there's a lot more desert in the world than you think there is. There's a lot more sandy areas than there are forests. Don't try and do Pangea or whatever avatars, blue avatars, people's planets called. You know, leave lots of room for the desert space within there, and you're going to be in a pretty good position to be able to move forward. So the next thing, on top of our terrain, now that in each one of our shots, our terrain is painted evenly, we've repeated it twice and developed it at the same time. Learned that trick from one of our other projects worked on. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start painting the clouds. So the clouds here, it's got this light blue color And you can see that there's a little bit of layering, and there's this sort of almost like water shapes that are going on with it. But what we want to do is, this is where we get to really highlight the shape of the planet. So let me go in, let's grab another brush. And I think I saw one in here that was like water ripples or something like that. That could work pretty well. Forest ribbon brush, no. Scribbler, no. Thing fur, could work. Here, no. That's gonna give us in pores. No, that's just a noise brush. That'll work. Water edges. All right, so right now we're at 23 opacity. That's working pretty good for me. So I want to think about the atmosphere. This is just going left and right here. I'm gonna use the smudge tool on this in a sec, but at 23%, gives us enough space. Get it nice and thin. The brush is really thin here. Just the edge. I'm gonna increase my brush size. For these streaks, this is going to be the direction the atmosphere is moving. I'm going to have to do a lot with the smudge brush here in a second, but that's pretty good for the start of these cloud shapes. Remember, I'm not painting vertical clouds. There are clouds from way overhead. I'm just going to use my smudge brush just to be able to soften this stuff up just a little bit more, getting a little bit of noise toward around the edges on them. Trying to avoid some of the big streaks that are happening. It's feeling pretty good. That one's messy right there. I really don't like it. So let's use my erasing tool. Let's make those cloud formations. That's working good for me. Drop those guys back. Let's get some more clouds going on right behind the ship. What we're doing is working. Okay, so now we got a little bit of lightness that's happening with this. I think that feels pretty good for the cloud cover. However, it's still really, really blue. So I want to now go in here and just try to lighten some of the thicker areas up just to be able to pull the colors out just a little bit more. So we're getting more of that white side of there and a little bit less in the blue. And that's feeling pretty good. Let's see if we can't get streaks going on in this section. Make it a little bit rougher. There we go. That feels right to me. All right, let's back it up, zoom out, have a look at our planet. And I'd say that's overall pretty believable there. Looks good to me. Let's go in now and let's use the burn tool on these because we still have Now we've just really quickly dropped down some of the brightness on those clouds within this area, so it allows our spaceship to be able to show up a little bit better. You can see that the spaceship is really starting to blend behind everything that I've just created. I don't want that to happen. I want my spaceship to stick out. So I've got two options. I can make my spaceship brighter, or I can make my planet a little bit darker. So go in here, I'll get away from this crazy brush, go back to the airbrush. And now that is giving me just a little bit more contrast. So let's see, got it? See how bright? Looks nice, looks like a cool planet, but that's not really what we're trying to show off here. By dropping that down even more, we're still getting that the planet is there, that it's got a bunch of topology going on underneath it. Maybe a happy medium. And that's working pretty well for painting a planet in there. Let's do the same thing with my other shot. We've got a whole bunch of clouds to go in and do here. So where was my cloud color? Use that one again. And now let's repeat that same process now that we know what it's going to look like on this one. So grab my planet. Right underneath the atmosphere. Go back to that silly, what did I use? Human hairs, water ripples. And for water edges. See. Yeah, I think we can get away with doing it here. We said we wanted that, what you call it, the line that the space elevator is on to disappear down into the atmosphere. If you ever watched the Weather Channel, you're going to have these atmospheric storm fronts that are coming through. That's essentially the shape that I'm trying to paint here. Little tiny clouds are right up in this area. Some of this just needs to be a little bit darker. So it make it believable. There we go. It's working pretty good. Looking at my reference image down below. Never seen pictures of a hurricane. Usually it's got storm fronts or layers, kind of ripples within the clouds. That's what we're going to do here. Doing pretty good. Continuing to look at my thumbnail view, get an idea of how this entire thing is feeling. And go ahead and plot in this back area over here. I've done sort of the London fog scene on a previous painting. Really taught me a lot from a glimpse perspective. Do clouds from the air. Remember, I don't want my smudge tool. Whenever you're using the smudge tool, if you overuse the smudge tool, it's going to become painfully obvious that smudge tool. Everyone's going to be able to tell, and they're going to know that you're going too quick. So half the challenge whenever you pick up the smudge tool is to keep the smudge tool from looking too smudgy. That feels good. It's nice and loose there. I'm just grabbing some of this stuff and blurring it out just a little bit more where I still want some of these areas to be nice and sharp around the edges. Some of the thicker storm systems don't need to be. And this is the trick to making these look good. Got a cat that's attacking my feet right now. Said it is time to play. What attack? We're not stuck. I am painting, good sir. There we go. Switching over to my eraser just to be able to erase out some of these things. And this is starting to look really pretty nice for me. I don't know if it looks quite like atmospheric clouds, clouds up in the high atmosphere, but it's doing something. Now we're going to do the same thing, blur out a lot of the stuff in here. With the smudge tool and just holding it down and doing a quick little wiggle. You know, it looks better than those examples that I just saw where they just copied it off the internet, which you can definitely copy it off the internet if you want. It'll work. Not the main focus of the beautiful renderings that I'm using for my reference images. So I think that's fine, but this one is such a big part of our composition that I want to include it in there. All right, so that's feeling pretty good for me with the clouds. The next deal here is, again, we've still got it to where it needs to get darker. What's that? That couple there. And now you see the curvature of the world that we created working really, really well. So let's just check between the two. Yep, both are equally dark as one another. So by creating those clouds really bright, here's what they look like without that stuff on there. It looks good, it looks nice, but it's not the most important thing to my composition. So I'm going to drop down some of those layers. There we go. From absolutely nothing, we have got a really, really nice and believable atmosphere and planet that we've just painted. So if you've never painted a big giant planet before, this is a great way to be able to go through and knock it out. There's, you know, this is super futuristic. We don't have any lights down on the planet at all. So there is a part of me that wants to see what we got. There we go. Plastic. This one, a little messy. Let's see what we can do with it. Just to have some fun for a second. All right, so that's got the full curvature of the Earth. It's likely going to give us some issues. So let's drop this down. I'm going to use that select color range, Get rid of my black again on this. There we go. And this is down below those clouds, but not below the black. So let's make it much, much smaller. Let's see what we can do with the layer interpretation. There it is. Just a little bit. It's pulling our eye. I'm looking down at my I don't really like it. So let's go in here and let's grab one of those colors and see what we can do about the hand painting. And I don't want to spend forever drawing little dots, just like I don't want to draw the sky out. We did see the dimpler there a second ago, which was a good noise brush. Now, scatter, organic particles. Nope, not far enough. Nope. Sparks trail, flames. Nope. Rain. Okay, nope. Big star scat. That'll work. Just a little bit of City at Night. I'm gonna use my dodge tool again. Actually, let's. Oh man, I'm working on my black layer. That was foolish. Let's go up one. Just a little bit. And what I want to do next. I want to try to get some yellow into these also, but I don't want to overpaint it. So let's see what we can do about a gradient overlay on this layer. Got this orange that's in there. Let's pump it all the way up. Go to normal. There we go. We're starting to get a little bit of the yellow in there. Let's spin this around. There it is. All right, that'll do it for me. Cool. We got a working method. Let's use that same brush now and not paint on our shadow layer again, or our above that entire shadow. Opacity's 100%. Water layer. do one layer up. Creating an overlay. Change the direction until we can really see those yellows start to show up. There it is. That'll work for me. Cool. So now we're pulling a little bit of the yellow from the space station down into the ground below. Got the lights turning on as the world becomes dark at night. I think that looks nice. It's a nice little detail there. And let me think. Is there anything else I really want to do with the backgrounds here? We can zoom out. I think that they're looking pretty good, but we can see the stark difference between the painting style that I have going on within the background versus what's going on within my ships. So the next thing that I need to do is go in and actually start painting the ships into my scene quite a bit more. Same thing is going to happen with these guys as well to get them to match up and to feel like they're a little bit more connected to the overall shot. That's going to be really, really important for me. Right here, edit, transform, and distort. Transform and work. That feels a lot more connected to the ground now. And as we get to the bottom of it, fade away. There we go. But I just feel like I want to add a little bit more emphasis to it. So let's get some of the white with the blue. Look down the side. Fuzzy brush. Nope, that's the lights. Should definitely think about turning some lights on either ships and giving them a little bit of glow at the end. Give the full J.J. Abrams treatment with the lighting. Just changing the color here, trying to find something that zoom out, stands out and works. Just to be able to pull the viewer's eye down that line a little bit more. I think the bright pink works all right. It's fine by me. I'm not really using any of those reds anywhere else within the scene, so I might end up changing the color. But now we've got a line, the rest of my spaceship. Match up. Just go ahead and cut that and paste it, transform and warp. That's feeling pretty good. Percent. Can't really see it right now. Right. trying to pick the bright color here. It's not quite letting me. I think that's the bright one. Yeah. Dark color. So, and a little bit of down just to be able to hide that seam. Looking pretty good. That looks very odd with the fisheye that we're trying to describe here on that ship. And that is not quite it. So let's see what we can do. Maybe, uh-oh. That guy's really stuck there now, the way that I painted this thing. I think there's some stuff hiding behind the ship as well. Yeah, he's got this little outline on it. All right, so that's an issue. Get rid of my line drawing on him. Now my line ship is in there. Yeah, there's a bit of a disconnect going on there with the way that line is working. I can't remember what my original sketch was. Yeah, right there. It feels like it's really connecting up good, or a little bit better. I think it's because it's a lot thinner. Maybe that's too thick. Yeah, if I make it thinner, it could work. Maybe it's the inside line. Give it another go. Figure out what's up. It's gonna bother me. Edit, transform, and warp. Okay, that that works better. It's still weird. Still a weird connection. Oh, no, man. All right, let's try it one more time. Transform and work. No, I want to work the entire thing. This and transform and work. So pushing it a little bit more forward here. That is so bizarre. Okay, we're going to leave it. I think the idea is there. Either way, it looks like a pretty painting of a planet and a cool spaceship up in the top left hand side. It's got that going for it. And hopefully, as we start to paint in this ship, to where it actually feels like it's matching the same painting caliber that's going on within the planet below, this is going to look really pretty cool once it's finished up. Probably need to go in at this point and start laying in some details and some color blocking within the interior design. I think that's going to be the next session for all of this. But for now, I'm gonna stop for tonight. We've got a video of me painting out these guys and adding how I did the details on the orthographic drawings, and then we've come a long way with this with painting space tonight. So if you ever want to know how to paint space, this was the video for you. Backing away slowly before I get sucked into something else. Right.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the fucking hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And fuck all the doubters, they're just fucking downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all wanna ring, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing. Do you got heart, are you mean? Got some scars, got some needs, are you willing to go bleed? I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display.
This is war with the enemy. Think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me. I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Go to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want them, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily spreading like a rare disease, but I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis.